probably get in trouble. Anyway, um, my last video on this channel was the one about transgenderism. And that video in itself didn't trigger anybody, I don't think. I may have to look comments, but on Facebook, I posted on Facebook. I got some comments, but the most comments I got was with the discussion with the family, with the relative of mine who happens to be trans. And I have no problem with this person, uh, except for really none. I mean, they're just living their life. And I have no problem with trans people living their life as trans or whatever. They want to put on a dress and put makeup on, get that electronic stuff down on their face. So they can't grow any facial hair, whatever. It's your money, it's your life. Do what you want with it, I guess. I don't do those kind of things, but that's me. I'm a biological male. Now, I don't like this cis. I'm a cis male. No, you don't get to decide what I am. I identify as a biological male. Anybody who's born male is a biological male. That's because I believe in science. That's not my religious belief. But I got triggered two different groups this week. Since over the weekend, basically. One is some trans people. The other one is the vegan people. I'm going to talk about the trans first. My only real problem with the trans community is when it comes to children. And there was things I learned from some other members of the trans community that they have an agenda in going to the schools. One is they need kids to they want your kids, not just any kids. They want your kids to validate them. To say, yeah, you're really a female. I don't care what they teach us in biology. Your reality or your delusion is reality. As we know, there's been some pushback in public schools, not just from the parents, but from students that don't want to attend these rallies where they're told what to believe, told how to believe. And so I expressed that with this family member who was fine with it. I don't think the family member that's trans doesn't agree with pushing these ideals on children either. But there are trans out there, and if I merely say that parents have the right to decide whether their kids attend these trans drag events, that makes me homophobic. That I'm homophobic. I don't care if you call me homophobic or not. Really, the word doesn't mean anything to me. You're homophobic. Well, what's phobia? It means you're afraid. I'm not really afraid of trans people unless they're like, on steroids, big muscular, Arnold Schwarzenegger type, ex-Navy SEAL or something. I might be afraid a little bit. Not afraid of trans people. Don't have trans people out where I live. There's no trans people here. Not in any of the towns. Maybe I go up to Columbus, Auburn, Opelika. Yeah, there's probably some there. Dothan, maybe. Don't know about Dothan. Dothan's a bigger town, but it's very agricultural. So, I don't know. Don't really care either. I mean, but, where I live, there's no chance of me misgendering anybody in real life because we don't have time for that stuff. That's stuff where you live in the city and you got nothing else better to do. You go be trans. Out here, if you don't like this lifestyle, you move on. This is rural, deep south is where I live. So it's really not a big issue to me. They're not going to come to public schools down here. And if they did, there'd be such an outrage. It wouldn't be. They would run them out of town. they held a drag show in the public library or in the library of the school or in the school. And the thing about these trans drag shows in schools, I looked them up on YouTube to see videos of them, and they're very provocative. They're not just guys strutting around in women's outfits. No, they're dressed like streetwalkers with prostitutes, or porn stars, or cabaret type dance hall girls, I guess you'd call them. Wearing lingerie on the outside, or as their actual clothes. Nobody wants to see that. Well, people do want to see that. I don't, but kids don't need to see that and shouldn't be seeing that. The trans community is trying to sexualize children. Not everybody in the trans community, which I express to these people. I'm saying it's some trans people doing this. It's not all. But I'm transphobic. Well, they also included that I'm racist because if you're against what the trans people want, then you're a racist. I don't see how that's racism, but they like to throw the race card at you. Even though they're white and I'm white, I'm racist for calling them out on their bullshit, I guess. The other thing they accused me of being, they used trash. Transphobic was for the T. The R is racist. A is ableist. I don't know. Do I able anybody? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Who cares? S is sexist. Now, you're sexist if you call women out. And the other thing is with the sports thing. So I think that's where they think I'm sexist. Because I don't think that biological males should participate in biological female sports. Okay? I just don't think so. I don't think it's fair to women who've worked their whole life to participate in a sport and then have their moment of glory stolen from them by some guy in a dress. I just don't think that that's fair. But to even think that, you're sexist. Which, the feminist movement did a lot of work in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and still to this day. A lot of working women want to be treated fair in the workplace. And I don't blame them. I think women, if you're working, you're doing the same job as a man, you should get paid the same. I mean, not too many people. You're going to be hard pressed to find someone to argue that one anymore. Maybe back in the 50s and 60s, women don't belong in a man's world. But we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world where most women work. Women are even expected to work. If you don't have kids, then, but that's up to the married couple. If the man wants to support his woman, doesn't want her to work. I had a friend that was like that. He married this woman. He said, I don't want her to want for anything, and I don't want her to have to work. And then they had kids, so then she couldn't. But you know what I'm saying? Some families want to live that way, and they have a right to live that way without being harassed. My wife works. She's worked most of the time we were married, except for when our kids were real young. And I was in the military during that time, so, the military was taking care of us. But, after the kids are a little older, went to school, we homeschooled for a while, but she worked at home while we were homeschooling. And for a while, she worked nights. So, we homeschooled our kids until they were in high school or middle school. And, but now my wife works, and she's very successful at her job, and she's climbed up the ladder quite far, I guess. Started out just answering phone calls, and now she's, making business decisions for the company she works for. And she works from home, and she's working right now, actually. One of the bedrooms is her office. That's how we moved out here in the country, because she no longer had to go to the office anymore. The company said, you're all working from home now, because they worked from home during COVID. And now, the whole company just shut down their offices and said it's better, cheaper, and people are more productive when they work at home for this company. So, darn it. Damn computer. There we go. It went dark. I'll have to move the cursor every now and again, I guess. So, but these people got mad at me. Although I was going over the rest of sexist, and the last one is homophobic. Well, you can be against the trans movement and not be homophobic. You know, they're just this guy who thinks he's a woman, who I don't know, is a friend of my relative, um, was on me, and then went onto my post on Facebook, which had nothing to do with it, and posted, that I'm a racist and that I'm a sexist and that I'm a homophobe and that I'm an ableist, whatever that is, and transphobic. I don't care if you call me transphobic. The only issue this person had is to call me transphobic. And just because I agree with the very vocal minority of trans people, probably. Because there are a lot of trans people who don't agree with the sports thing or the messing with children. And the gay community's been very good about leaving their agenda out of school. I mean, they have some books, My Daddy's Husband or whatever, kind of books. I Have Two Mommies, to help, because there are kids that are like that. They have, gay or lesbian parents, and so, it's important for the other kids to understand that, so they better understand their classmate, I guess. So their classmates aren't being ridiculed just because of who their parents are. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, But I do see something wrong with them wanting to teach kids behind the parents' back. And that was my biggest complaint, other than the sports thing. And the sports thing, I'm not a big complaint, but I mentioned it. But I did mention a lot that they don't have no right to go behind parents' back and teaching kids what their values are, because school is not a place to teach values to the kids. That's what they learn at home. There are people who have different religious beliefs that don't agree with the trans issue. But I got a lot of hate, and I got, somewhat cyber stalked from trans people because they were mad at me from either my video, but mostly just from the conversation with my relative, my cousin, okay, who I'm very close to, grew up with, and still, I do artwork for my cousin. I do a lot of things. But because of that, my cousin has a lot of trans friends on his Facebook page. And so I was commenting on a post, and a conversation got started between me and my cousin. And other people jumped in. So my cousin's not mad at me, still sends me funny memes and stuff. So, didn't hurt that relationship at all with my beliefs in transit, and I'm not going to validate someone by force, and that's what they want you to. You should be forced to validate, If I know it helps them with their delusion if everybody's like, "Oh, you're a real woman, you're a real woman," but they need to hang around with those people, because the general public doesn't have to do that. And to make kids validate you is just, there's something wrong with that. So that's enough. I've probably repeated myself, so let's go on to the next woke group that I triggered. Okay, this all happened on Facebook. You know how you get those ads? You're scrolling down about every fourth or fifth post you get to, usually from the people you subscribe to or the groups you subscribe to, and you see the little posts, and then you get to an advertisement, for Spoke Post, where you get a cool thing for guys every month, or I get things for a lot of those different food delivery things that deliver a bunch of food to your house. Something green my wife gets all the time, and she does a couple Misfits. There's a couple different ones. I always get their ads on Facebook because they know that I order that kind of stuff sometimes. About once a month. My wife, she's not as good of a cook as I am. So she likes to get those because it has everything. It has the spices and everything. You don't have to, shop and figure out what you're going to add to it. Me, I just whatever we have in the freezer or the refrigerator, and I put something together. I do most of the cooking around the house. I've always done that. So, I get those. That's going off on a tangent about my cooking, huh? But and I get different things. When I was looking for a car, I don't got too many car stuff. I'd get Rivertown Toyota ads. I'd get Albert Hyundai of um, Hyundai of Auburn, or Sons Chevrolet, which is the Chevy dealer in uh, Eufaula. I get the ads for them, but I got to add, and it's weird that sometimes you get an ad, and why am I even getting this ad? Well, I got an ad for dog food. I get ads for like chicken stuff and things like that too sometimes because they know what you're looking at online, and Facebook gets somehow they're in tune with what you're looking for on your phone or your computer. But I got this thing for vegan dog food. There's vegan dog food you can order online. I don't know what they put in it, beans and stuff. I just said nope. I'm not feeding my dog that stuff. That's all I did. I just commented on the comment section of the ad. Holy shit. Did I get a bunch for that simple little comment? Nope. I'm not feeding, NOPE, comma, I'm not feeding my dog that stuff. That's all I put. And oh man, I got like three, and two of them were stalking me. I mean, they were following me. They even followed me. I think they even posted on some of my YouTube videos, but I'm not sure. But definitely on Facebook, man, I was getting ads like crazy. This was yesterday. I was looking at my phone. I was like, oh, I got 4 messages on, they were messaging me on Facebook Messenger. They were messaging me on my videos, and just calling me all kinds of vile names. You're fat and ugly and this and that, and like, oh boy, you're a murderer, and you know because they found out I raised chickens and I raised rabbits, and how dare you even do those things? And you have a dog and you're not feeding your dog vegan dog food. You horrible person. Well, I don't feed my cats vegan dog food either, or vegan food either. There's no way you're going to get my cats to eat vegetables. My cats, if I fed them vegetables, they would just go out in the forest behind me and catch lizards and mice and whatever else are out in that forest. One of my cats, that's pretty much what she does. She eats. She came to the house one time, had a little lizard sticking out, a little lizard tail sticking out of her mouth. She eats. We got a lot of anole lizards out here, all over the place. Out here, the little tiny lizards. In Colorado, you used to buy them at pet stores, but they live wild out here. Anole lizards and other lizards, and I don't know what kind of lizards there are, but there are. And I found small snakes, like baby coach whip snakes with their heads eaten off. The snake bodies there, I found 3 or 4 of babies, because I think coach whip had some babies underneath our house. Our house sit on a slab, but underneath the concrete, the slab, they somehow got in there and they had their babies, and they came out in the spring, and the chicken or my cat got about 3 of them. I think they have a lot more babies, so most of them probably got away, but I hope they don't come back. I hope the cat taught the snakes a lesson. One of the reasons originally got the cat is to keep snakes. We had some snakes in our house since we moved here, but we haven't had any since we got the cats. Now it's summertime now, so but once it starts cooling off a little bit, snakes might start wanting to come back in the house. That ain't gonna happen. Our cats are gonna see to that. Well, at least the girl cat, the gray one. The boy, he's more of a homebody kitty. He does go outside, but and he'll follow me out when I take care of the rabbits and the chickens. He comes out there. Um, but these vegans, I mean, they called me the most vile names. Just and then one of them said, "You're triggered." After she put all these vile names at me, I'm like, I don't think you know what the word triggered means. I was having fun commenting back. I was like, you know, I do. If vegans want to go toe to toe with me in verbal combat, I'll take them on. You know, I don't care if you're vegan, but why do you care that I'm not a vegan? You know, it's like there's a certain amount of vegans that expect everybody should be a vegan, and that they're such a good person. One of them even told me how good of a person she was. Uh, I was like, whatever. If you have to tell me, then you're not. You know, it's just like Corky. Corky has to tell you how good a person he is. This person's such a good person. You know, I called her, city. I said, that's fine for you city girls. I'm not a city girl. And she called me a cunt. Okay. Never got called a cunt before, but fine. I just think that's funny. Nothing they said offended me. They were trying so hard. Now, the thing is, when people call you those kind of names, call you fat, call you ugly, call you a cunt, call you a cocksucker, another thing they called me, that means that I had already won the debate, that I didn't even know I was having a debate or wanted to debate. They're so trying to get me because I raise rabbits and chickens. Well, that's why I moved out here. That's my lifestyle. I want to raise as much of my own food because I don't know what's going to happen in the world. You know, with supply chain issues, with these animal rights people burning down meat processing plants, and with all the craziness going on in the world, cities are burning. The homeless population's growing like crazy. I mean, just look at L.A. The crime in cities like San Francisco. San Francisco used to be a big tourist area. I wouldn't go there. You couldn't pay me to go to San Francisco. Well, actually, if you paid me, I might go. But, that's what's happening in these big cities. I don't live in the big city. A lot of you may. So you probably have better insight on it than I do. I just know from YouTube watching videos of people showing what's going on in their cities. Atlanta, Memphis, Denver, all kinds of stuff. All these big cities having all this stuff going on. Another reason why I live out in the country. And another reason why I grow what I do and do what I do. And I make videos on this channel, hopefully to help somebody who wants to get into that, who wants to start raising their own meat. And I'm going to do quail next, I think. Goats, I've thought about. My mom thinks I should raise goats. I don't know, goats, I just think there's a lot of feed involved and it's going to be more expensive than it's worth. And goats really don't have that much meat on them, but it would be nice to grow something with red meat though. Goat, I'd rather raise sheep, but you have to have so many sheep. So that's why I don't raise sheep. And if I raised sheep, I would never have to mow my yard. And I didn't move the cursor enough, but there I am back. You can probably see the light flicker on my face when the screen went out. I've been talking for 11 minutes. That ain't long. But, I'm not trying to repeat myself, but, I do. This is my dream from when I was in college. Me and my wife, we were dating. I used to draw diagrams of what our farm would look like. This is where our house is. And we'll have these animals here and here and here and here. As time went on in our marriage, I thought this dream would never happen. I thought we'd be renters living in apartments forever. Well, we did live in a house in Colorado. I rented a house from my parents, actually. They moved to Kansas, and I moved into their house and kept it up. Now my brother's living there. And, I went out. and I moved to Atlanta, and then ended up buying a house, and then selling the house, and I got this. I got somewhat lucky because the market went crazy in Atlanta. Atlanta is the fastest growing city in the United States, and one of the fastest in the world. Um, I didn't want to live there, and we lived on the we bought a house in the outskirts of Atlanta suburbs, and I watched as when we first moved there, they just completed maybe a couple years earlier a Walmart, a super Walmart right across the road from us. But then there's a Costco came in, and more and more other housing developments coming in. Pretty soon, traffic was snarled. It took you forever to get anywhere because the traffic was so bad. They didn't build the highway before they started the urban sprawl out there, I guess. I didn't want to live there anymore. And then I was told I couldn't have chickens anymore. When I first moved there, you could have chickens in your yard. Then all of a sudden, well, you could only have 6 hens. You can't have a rooster. Well, I did get rid of my rooster, but I had like 10 or 11 hens. Why are they going to come back there and count them? But then I sold my hens as we were getting ready to look for places. And now I'm out here and I start over with my chickens. And you've seen my videos. I got chickens and rabbits and turkeys, and loving the turkeys. They're very entertaining, um, and I love my lifestyle. And I could care. You should go whatever lifestyle you want. Live in a big city and wear a dress and eat only vegetables. Hey, that's your business. It's not my business to tell you you're wrong. That I'm living what I want to live. You can live what you want to live. Hopefully you can. I hope any out there who like what I'm doing can do it too. There's a lot of properties for sale out here that are about the same size as mine. There's one. It's a trailer though. I think it's a double wide trailer, but it has a bunch of outbuildings. It's already set up, man. You move right in. You can start fixing up your animal. That too, right down there. It's by Clayton and what's the name of that town? Louisville. I looked at that property. Every once in a while I look to see what properties are for sale. There's some properties out here if you want to live the lifestyle. You got a good growing season. The summer's less of a growing season than the rest of the year. It gets pretty hot out here, and especially this year, man. My rabbits are hating it, but I can't wait till this heat spell's gone. But I don't see any end of it anytime soon. But a lot of things going on in the world, and we're all trying to live the best we can. So you guys all have a good day and a better tomorrow.